I keep randomly visiting my Combinator's startup directory to see what exactly is going on in the future of AI and especially voice AI because that is what I'm supremely interested in. And today as well, I was just browsing through what companies were getting funded and I saw something which was pretty interesting to me. Let me show you. So I was in the startup directory and I thought that I would just see what the latest batches were getting funded for. And then I just searched for voice and I just went through the list. But one thing caught my attention and it was this one, the Qualify.bot startup. And what they did, and I thought their startup pitch was pretty interesting. They were trying to solve the brokers process business loans. And they were saying that they were able to achieve 4x higher conversion rates using voice AI, right? So anywhere there's a voice with AI, I am interested in that. So I just went to the website and I saw what the product was. And it is pretty interesting. The core concept is that whenever somebody tries to fill in a loan onboarding form, a lot of them might just drop off, mainly that they couldn't understand something or a term was confusing or they got some other work. And that leads to churn. And so far, I hadn't seen any product that was able to get those customers back who hadn't even filled the full form, and especially with voice AI. So I wanted to see how they were integrating voice AI with this process, and I just saw their demo video. So the whole flow they were showing was that a customer, when comes and fills in like an intro form, that information goes into like a dashboard, and that triggers a voice AI agent that can call that person and understand the requirements. This is the easy part. Like this is something that we can do right now very, very easily. The interesting thing starts when the section is over and you go to the section where it sends the form to the prospect on email, and then that prospect start filling that form, and midway they get some snag, and for some reason they didn't finish the form completely, right? Like they didn't continue or they didn't submit, right? The AI was able to figure out the block point and was able to give them a call and figure out what was blocking them to fill the complete form. This is what the funding was all about, like the process. And in here, you could see that the form they were showing was multi-page, and in every continue, they would be getting like a notification on the back end that the user has submitted the form till here. And if the submission doesn't occur up to a specific point, they can get a call, right? Now, I wanted to understand if I can do it in any form or not. So for that, I quickly sketched up a logic. And this was the logic that if I was this company, I would be doing. So if there is any form that is partially filled, I would get a webhook trigger. And that webhook trigger would initiate an AI voice call with the user data, which you already have captured inside Webhook. And then that customer is onboarded. This whole workflow is an entire company that is extremely valuable in the loan and banking space. And this I got to know while just randomly doing my research, right? So what I did was I went to ChatGPT and asked it, is there any service right now that can give me a webhook trigger or some kind of indication if the user has dropped off from the form, filling it partially? And let me show you what the answer was. So this is the GPT-5 chat from where I asked my question from. And the answer I get, I'll just take you to the summary. Big platforms that are there, but none of them provided what I wanted. So JotForm, the biggest one, does not. FormStack does, but only in the form of email notification. This I searched, it was not possible. GPT said that Typeform actually did. So I went and searched specifically for Typeform. And what I found was that their partial submission webhook doesn't work reliably. There were many forum posts that were saying that they were not able to do their automations using that. That made me think, what could be another way to do that? And I figured out there is a method called Heartbeat that I can implement using JavaScript in any form whatsoever. What that does is, like a heartbeat, it sends signal to a webhook or a backend at certain intervals, and we can catch the data that was filled in up to that time. And that was superbly cool. And like every other engineer would do, I coded my own. So this was the form that I coded, right? And I'll just show you how the form works and how we can catch the webhook live with the form. And then I'll show you how to create the whole automation where we can catch the webhook get a dynamic caller to call the customer using that information and then get them onboarded, right? So let me just simply go to webhook.site and copy this webhook, and I'm going to paste it right here in place of this, right? And I'm going to open this form in another browser. So this is my form, which is right here. I'm going to fill my name. Let's say this one, maybe number and any address, whatever, employment station, employment status, full-time, score 800, and I'm going to wait. So what I have coded is, if there is no response till 10 seconds, the form is going to send a webhook, which you are going to see on the left-hand side right now live. And also there's a debug window right here, which will show what exactly is being sent. So let's wait for a couple of seconds and it should fire our webhook like this, right? And here we have a webhook in which we have all the data like email and my number and my name, which I actually filled inside this form. And I went a step ahead. So what I did was I'll just refresh this and I'll close all these entries. So what I did was, even if I'm filling, let's say YouTube, phone number is whatever, email is whatever, employment status part-time, annual income is loan amount, 50K, right? If I navigate away and I close the tab, even then I'll get the webhook, even if the 10-second value is not proven, right? So if I go here and I close this, I get a webhook response. So I didn't lose that data. So if a customer actually tried to fill the form, didn't even wait for 10 seconds, which was my threshold, and closed the tab, I still got that data, right? And now I can do an n8n automation, feed this data to my VAPI AI caller as dynamic variables, and just give them a call right away. How cool is that? This is going to solve a $1 million problem in banking and loan industry. And this is what a company like Qualify.bot was funded for. Of course, there might be much more things that they are doing in much more depth, which I don't know. But this problem, what I saw, was interesting enough for me to try and figure out if I can do it within few hours using the tools that I know right now. That's the whole purpose of creating this demo for you. So now the webhook is working, the form is working. Let's connect this to n8n. And let's connect that n8n to a VAPI caller, and let me show you the whole process, how this will work, right? So now I'll go to workflow right here, right? And here I already have set two webhooks, one for form webhook, one to get the information from the form, and one for the post call webhook, which we'll get from the VAPI interface, right? So for the form webhook, I'll just do a test. I'll listen for the test events. I'll go again to the form. Before that, I'll have to change the webhook here to that. I'm going to refresh this and I'm, let's say, going to say again, whatever, fine. Let's go 100, right? So either we can wait 10 seconds or I can just close this. In any case, this should work. So maybe let's wait and see if this is triggering if the user is abandoning the form. Okay, it is triggered and we can see we have the data from the triggered webhook. This is exactly what we want, right? Now in the next node, we will set up an HTTP node, which will be doing our VAPI calls, right? And for that, we'll go to the VAPI docs right here, and we will go to create a call section, and we have to create a JSON, which will actually create the call using our dynamic variables. Now for that, now these are going to be our dynamic variables. So we can have the information that what the income was, what was the credit score, what was the name, of course, and all of these would be the variables we can inject to our agent before he calls that person, which will make it very personalized call for that person itself, right? So let's see if we can leverage that. So this is the documentation of VAPI with dynamic variables. If If you don't know what that is, here's a video on the screen that you can see, which I have done before, how to use dynamic variables to personalize your calls, right? For now, I'll just copy this whole JSON and I'll go to my HTTP request. I'll import this, paste it here, and it all gets imported right away. Now we have to map our variables right here. So what we'll do is we will uh, have name as here, and we can have another property like uh, income like this, and we can have credit score like this with risk score like this. Okay, let's keep all of these for now. This is enough for us to make it a dynamic assistant. Okay, this is good now. Now we go to our VAPI dashboard and create an agent. So I already have one, so you can just create an agent and make it whatever you want. Now I have to make sure that all the dynamic variables we are having are inside our agent prompt, right? So we can call the person by his name. I'm calling from the bank of this is regarding your loan. The customer's income is, and we can pass the variable, which was this one, income, right? Income. And we can say credit score is this one. The customer is okay. Let's make the call as the agent is trying to verify these things with the customer so that he feels that the agent is not just calling him randomly. Verify if the customer's income is this. Verify if the customer's credit score is that. Okay, so let's publish this. Before that, we have to go to advanced here and go to messaging. And in here, we have to put in this webhook's URL, this one, right? Because this is where we'll be getting the post call analysis of our calls. And in here, we have to select what we want to receive in that webhook, right? And for me, only two things matter: end of call and transcript, right? So this is what is needed in the agent. Now, the next thing is you have to get a number from here and go back to your HTTP request and paste that phone number ID right here. And we also have to pass in your assistant ID. So for that, go back to your assistant and copy this ID and paste that assistant ID right here. Now, everything is filled. All I have to fill is my number, which we will have from the form. Okay, so this is a complete dynamic call that the whole workflow can make, and immediately it can figure out what the customer is stuck on and what needs to be done. Let me show you how it all works. So now let me unpin these values. And now I'm going to take the production URL from in here, paste these to my form here, and also to my VAPI agent. The production URL should be there. So go back to VAPI and advanced messaging, and inside in here, publish. Right? So now this should all work if I make it active. Got it. Execute. Okay, now let me run the form and let's see how everything works. So I'll say my number is this and email is whatever, income is this, credit score is 800, status is full-time, and I'm not going to submit it, and it should execute and I should get a call right away. So let me make it side by side. Yes, we have a call. Hello.
Hey, Rish, I'm Nia calling from the Bank of America. This is regarding your loan application.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Rish. To proceed, I would like to verify some details. Could you please confirm your annual income? According to our records, it is 7000000. Also, your credit score is listed as 800. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you for confirming, Rish. With an income of 70000.
Okay, so we have to do some better prompting, but you got the point that everything was happening, and now we should also have a post call webhook which gave us all the details of what happened in the call, right? So here we have the summary, which says that Mia from Bank of America called and she verified the amount, and this is exactly what is needed. And we can pass this to another node, which can be like a CRM of the company or anything like that. And this becomes this whole loop, which is what the exact problem that this company is solving. My whole purpose of making this was that AI has done wonders in this world, and all you need is to figure out what problem is out there that you can solve. And I can guarantee you that there are tools available that you can learn and solve that problem right now from wherever you are or whatever your condition is. So location, condition, age have ceased to matter. What matters is how hungry you are for the quest of knowledge, the quest of AI, and the quest of doing things. And I would like to just end it with what YC says again. You can just do things. It was not to do any shade on any company. It was just to prove you that you can do anything. And talking about that, I am also creating something which I think is extremely valuable in voice AI space. If it's already out, you will see that video somewhere on the screen right now. And that video is going to be for everyone from consumers to creators and especially to investors. So check that video out and let me know what you think about this as well as that. And that's all for now. See you in the next one.